Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the head of Partner Business Development, Terry Wise.
Wow. Welcome to reInvent, our first ever global partner customer summit here in Las Vegas. It's great to see so many familiar faces in the audience, and looking forward to getting to know some of the new ones as well. First and foremost, I want to thank all of you for attending the session today and the conference throughout the week. Especially want to thank those partners who are sponsoring the summit this week. Frankly, without the support of our sponsors, events like this would be next to impossible to put on. As you can see, just in this room today, we have representation from almost every state in the country and over 30 countries globally. So this really, truly is a global event, and we appreciate everybody making the long trip to Las Vegas to spend the week with us. From early on, partners have been a critical piece of the AWS business and business strategy. Before we launched our first service, we designed partners into the overall business plan. As I've said many, many times before, infrastructure as a service isn't very interesting without applications that run on AWS or consulting partners that help customers build, deploy, and manage those applications. So without the folks in this room, cloud computing, AWS, and our customer base would be much smaller than it is today, so we really appreciate the support there. Almost all of our customers use one or more of the partners in this room to deploy, manage, and be successful in the cloud. One of the biggest investments we're actually making, and I'll talk a bit more about some of the other investments as the day goes on, one of the biggest investments we're making is in the AWS team to support the partners here. Just real quick, I'd like everybody from Amazon in the room to stand up. There's a whole bunch of them in the back of the overflow room as well. This is a huge group that's much, much bigger than it used to be. If we'd actually done this event 2 years ago, we might have had 10-15% of the folks standing than we do today. And for those of you that have been with us for a few years now, if we'd done this event 4 years ago, we'd probably be looking at 4 or 5 of us. So one of the biggest investments we're making is in actually the team to support you and the programs that we're rolling out. Now, I have noticed a few folks got laptops open, tablets open, iPhones and whatnot. I'm sure you're all going to be taking copious notes over the next couple of days. But should your mind wander and you want to go check out something else, I do want to remind you that today is Cyber Tuesday. And there are plenty of deals available for your holiday shopping pleasure on that other Amazon property. So feel free to make the wife and kids happy. Should the mind wander. Got a packed agenda for the day. Following the keynote session here, we're going to go to lunch, and then we have 3 main breakout sessions throughout the afternoon. A business track that'll be focused on the business leaders in this room. You get a chance to hear from a couple of our partners, including Second Watch and BMC, and how they're successful in building businesses on AWS. We'll also hear from Tiffani Bova from Gartner, who will give you some insights into the trends she's seen around enterprise customer adoption of cloud computing, as well as channel strategies. And we'll also hear from Carla Stratfold, the Americas sales lead for AWS, who will give her view of best practices in terms of how to engage with her team in the field to drive joint opportunities together. We also have a sales track where we're going to be doing a unique whiteboard selling session. It's a very interactive, hands-on session that teaches the sales leaders in this room how to use a whiteboard to effectively position cloud computing, the unique attributes of AWS, and to quickly identify project opportunities within your customer base. And the third session will be led by our ecosystem solution architect and service lead teams. It's going to be a deep dive technical track, starting with a chalk talk at 2 o'clock, given by Matt Garman, the general manager of EC2, as well as breakout sessions around best practices for architecture, security, new service adoption, new solutions, etc. And finally, we'll wrap up the day with a cocktail reception to give all of the folks here in this room a chance to cross-pollinate with one another, share ideas, and get to know the AWS team a bit better. With no further ado, I would like to actually introduce Adam Silipsky, who's the worldwide VP of Sales, Marketing, Support, Business Development, and Partners. I think I got all of that. But Adam's going to spend some time setting the vision for where AWS is headed in 2013 and where we're going to take partners. Adam?
Thanks, Terry. Well, I didn't realize I got music. Wow. Thank you all so much for being here today. Just to echo a couple of the things Terry said, as I think back, it's just amazing to be here with all of you. There are almost 1,000 of you here in this room, and I guess there's an overflow room as well. I've been lucky enough to be with AWS since 2005, which is about 1 year before we launched the first of our infrastructure services, S3, to the public. So it was fairly early on, and I remember a year or two in, we said, hey, we should do some events. Let's go figure out how to do an event. And I think we had one marketing person, and we got a loft in Capitol Hill in Seattle, and we managed to do some publicity and got, it was actually a pretty good turnout, between 200 and 300 developers there, and I think she was very frugal and got somebody to donate the bottled water. I mean, it was very, seriously, that's a true story. And it was very, very impressive. And you know, the events have grown over the years, but this is very exciting to be here, you know, with all of you and together, all of us, with our joint customers, of whom there will be you know, many thousands over the next couple of days. So thank you again very much for being here. It's we're all super excited, and of course we very much welcome the feedback on this whole event, and particularly the sequence of events today. And we'd very much like to learn and just do better and better as we go forward. So thanks again. So we just wanted to start. You know, many companies, most companies, I suspect, you know, talk about being, you know, customer focused and wanting to innovate quickly on behalf of their customers. It's a little bit motherhood and apple pie. It turns out it's, as I'm sure most of you know, a very different thing to actually do that. And you know, this is, you know, where we spend the majority of our time, really thinking about, you know, what truly do our customers want? How are we going to serve them? We're often asked about competitors. As most of you probably know, we're really not very competitively focused. I mean, we certainly, you know what's going on out there and try and keep track, but you know, we don't have a highly competitively focused strategy. We have a much more customer focused strategy. Every time I'm in the room with you guys and with your peers, talking about, you know, aspects of our partnerships, you know, the question I almost always ask is, you know, what specific customers can we go and help together? You know, what is the list? You know, what are the top 5? What's the top 15? I think that's kind of our style, is to really focus on the customers, not to kind of focus on, you know, the broader, you know, top-down type of stuff. And what that really is part of is our desire to, you know, to align tightly with the customers. And you'll see in many parts of our business strategy, and some of the stuff we'll go through here is just kind of a brief overview of where AWS is today, is really all about winning when our customers win and winning only when they win. So if you take our pricing strategy, which we'll talk about a little bit, you'll see that. If you take our product development strategy and, you know, our desire to make it, you know, easy to kind of seamlessly shift in and out of AWS as a customer as you like, you'll see that. I think our partnering strategies also support that, where the people that we want to partner with and the way that we try and structure those partnerships is to really bring value to customers and to make sure that we're only all perceiving ourselves succeeding as they're perceiving themselves succeeding. So hopefully that aligns well with the way that you go to market as well. And it's just want to be very transparent about the way we view the world and kind of what's motivating our behavior, in case you ever wondered. So briefly, I just wanted to, we're going to go through roughly 5 things here, not to be too pedantic. We just want to talk about the things that we're focused on over the next, you know, year plus that are potentially of interest to our partner ecosystem. One is just to continue to innovate on behalf of our customers. We'll talk about that a little bit. 2 is our expansion in this, you know, very, very rapidly growing market into new geographies and also new customer segments. 3rd is that pricing strategy I talked about in terms of continuously lowering our cost structure, turning around and lowering prices as we scale and as we, just as importantly, as we innovate. 4th is adding resources to work with our enterprise customers. And finally, of course, investing in enabling the partner ecosystem, which is going to be the focus of much of today. So this will just be the lightest of light overviews of that in this particular little session. So in terms of the pace of innovation, our strategy has always been to get to market as quickly as we possibly can with what we sometimes call the minimally viable offering. So when we launched EC2 back in August of 2006, it was only available with Linux operating systems. There was no Windows. So if you were wanted to use Windows on EC2, you flat out couldn't. If you wanted to use Linux on EC2, it worked beautifully. And that's a great example, a clean, pure example of what I call a minimum viable offering, which is it works great if you're a Linux developer and there's no problem. But there are other use cases like Windows, which it just didn't initially serve. And you'll see more complicated, sophisticated examples of that now. Back then, we were kind of dealing with those basics. At this point, it's maybe a little more nuanced, but you'll still see that behavior from us time and time again, where we say, let's just get this thing to market quickly, which is really useful for a set of use cases, set of customers, set of third-party software, whatever it is, and then we'll iterate. Then we'll see what customers want, because it's really hard to predict, particularly in a space as new as this one, exactly where customers are going to want to go. So we are not going to take the strategy of, hey, let's build every bell and whistle. Let's really, nail every, feature that we suspect the customers might want, just so we're, not labeled incomplete. And as a result of the way that we organize, we've really been able to ratchet up our pace of innovation over the years to the point where, we release new services and new features literally in order of magnitude more quickly than a lot of traditional technology companies. So you can see back in 2010, we released about 60 new major services or features. When I say major, I mean things like new services, entirely new services, or major new features like getting Oracle or SQL Server running in the relational database service, opening up a new entirely new geography like a new AWS region in Australia, which we did a couple weeks ago. So then in 2011. That number jumped by about a third to over 80 significant services and feature releases. And by the end of this year, we expect that number to be over 150 for 2012. So we're really trying to accelerate as our customers are saying, hey, we are really moving major workloads to AWS. This is going to replace our data centers over time, so here's all the stuff that needs to happen. And they're very justifiably impatient. And so what we're really trying to do is to keep pace with their impatience to get the full functionality that they're going to need over time. In terms of where that innovation is taking us globally and us expanding into new markets that I mentioned, AWS at this point has 2 commercial regions on the US West Coast, one on the US East Coast, one in Europe, one in Singapore, Japan, South America, in Brazil. We have a U.S. government-only region to serve ITAR-compliant workloads, also on the U.S. West Coast. And then just within the last couple of weeks, we just opened up our newest region, our 9th infrastructure region in Australia. And that is off to a really blazing start and looks very promising. Lots of customers interested in that. And by the way, parenthetically, we've seen probably more than I at least personally would have anticipated. Customers, here in the U.S., in Europe, are really wanting us to be expanding globally and to take advantage of our ability to let them kind of walk in with no hassle into new geographies, be it Japan or Australia, for example. And that's been a real trend, which I think is only going to accelerate. Now we're seeing a lot of Asian companies, for example, wanting to port their applications to AWS regions in the U.S. and Europe. And I think that turns out to be a major benefit of us being a platform that's pretty well scaled with a real geographic reach at this point. So just in terms of how quickly that's all evolving, one stat to kind of indicate that is that if you take Amazon.com, the worldwide retail business, in 2003, when it was it had revenues of over $5 billion a year. Every day of the year on average, AWS adds enough server capacity to power all of Amazon.com's infrastructure circa 2003, when it was over a $5 billion a year enterprise. So we're essentially adding enough customer-driven server capacity on average every day of the year to power an enterprise of that nature. So when we talk about being scaled and growing rapidly, that's the type of growth that we're talking about. In terms of the customer base, and we're working at these customers with a lot of you, so hopefully this is no surprise, but we continue, as we have since day one really, to power a lot of the most popular internet businesses that are out there. Netflix obviously has turned into a rather large one. Instagram, Zoopla in the UK, Pinterest, Enomoto and Uyala have been with us for, gosh, 4 or 5 years at least now, I think. And you can see the rest of the list, Yelp, etc. But many of the world's largest and fastest growing startups continue to build most or all of their infrastructure on AWS. Over the past several years, the enterprise business has really become a highly significant part of our business and is growing extremely rapidly now. And at this point, you can see the types of enterprises, Fortune 500 and Global 2000 types of companies that are now deploying significant infrastructure on AWS. Companies like Shell, Samsung, Ericsson, Lionsgate is putting their SAP deployment on AWS. For several years, we've run Newsweek.com on AWS, Autodesk, Adobe, for example, and of course, a lot of other companies which you can see listed there. And this list is growing all the time. There are also a lot who choose not to talk publicly about their infrastructure. I'm sure you guys experience that as well. But it really is growing very quickly and is going to be a very meaningful part of our business going forward as it is today. And this is, of course, an area of high interest to many folks in this room. And we're fully vested and committed to jointly partnering to go into these companies and helping them. And of course, also the public sector. At this point, there are over 300 plus government agencies and over 1,500 educational institutions using AWS, ranging from Harvard and Cal Berkeley to NASA and a lot of other agencies such as HHS. So, and around the globe, we're seeing a lot of interest from foreign governments as well. So I think we can expect that to be a rapidly growing part of AWS going forward. In terms of what customers are actually running on AWS, I hate to say it's incredibly broad, but it's incredibly broad. If you think about it, we built a very horizontal, agnostic technology platform, and we've layered services on top of that. We did not start with some high-level abstraction and then kind of add things beneath it or ask people to come and consume our entire portfolio of services. And as a result, there's an extreme amount of flexibility in terms of what you can do on the platform, and customers are taking advantage of that. So we got a lot of business applications, SAP, Oracle, Microsoft, etc., running on AWS. I think the web applications are pretty well known. Again, a lot of gaming, a lot of media sharing, a lot of social media applications running on top of us. Big data and high performance computing has come on really fast over the past 18 to 24 months. I still think it's early in that space, and that space is going to get a lot bigger over the next couple of years. But a lot of analytics by consumer web companies, a lot of companies in the health sciences space, for example, genome sequencing, and large-scale batch processing, which runs across industries. For example, a lot of that taking place in the financial services industry. And then finally, disaster recovery and archiving. We're seeing a lot of those types of solutions. I still think it's early. I still think in that space there's a lot of room for a lot of partners to either build or partner on some really robust offerings around things like backup and disaster recovery. I don't think that well, just say I think it's very early in that space yet in terms of what's actually been built. I said we'd talk about pricing a little bit. So, it's a very viable business strategy to have a high gross margin business. A lot of technology companies over the past few decades have run with 60, 80+% gross margins. And again, I think that's a perfectly reasonable strategy and has produced a lot of wealth for a lot of shareholders. It's not our strategy, and it's never going to be our strategy. If you kind of look at our roots as a retailer, I think you can kind of see our DNA. Amazon Web Services certainly shares that same philosophy, and we very much believe in driving costs down, lowering prices, and creating a very large business, high volume, low cost, low margin business, and we're very comfortable with that, and that's how we've really run all businesses at Amazon. And you can see the type of virtuous circle that gets built there, where we are able to invest in capital, and build technology around that, improve our efficiency, use that efficiency to lower prices, attract more customers, and it's really a virtuous circle which drives itself around to the point where we've actually lowered prices 23 times over the past 5 years. And if there's one prediction I'll make for the future, is that you will continue to see more of that. We will be highly predictable in that way. None of us in any of the businesses we've been in at Amazon have ever heard customers say that they would like to pay more. So we're gonna continue to take prices the other way. In terms of what this means for customers, IDC just did a multi-month in-depth study looking at 11 large enterprises running on AWS across a variety of industries, ranging from media to real estate to banking to pharmaceutical. And they actually found overall that these companies running literally the same set of applications in-house versus on AWS, that their costs were on average just over 70% lower running on AWS as opposed to running in-house. And by the way, they experienced 70% less downtime as well running on AWS, which equates to several hours per year of additional uptime. So we're seeing real results, from real customers in terms of the often dramatic cost savings that customers can achieve running in the cloud and on our platform. In terms of what are we doing to add resources to help bring enterprise customers onto AWS, help our customers succeed jointly with us when we go to enterprises. A big piece of it, we won't get into the kind of the product strategy piece today, although we've added a ton of enterprise-focused functionality over the past several years. But we are also adding, as Terry alluded to, a lot of resources, a lot of people, some of whom are in the room today, to help with having the conversation with enterprises. So we've added a ton of sales and marketing people around the globe, certainly in places where we add AWS regions, like in Australia. We have a pretty robust team in place there. Also in related geographies in that general area, which don't have a specific AWS infrastructure region in them. So we've got people in India, for example. We've got people in Korea. So there are many places around the globe where we don't actually have infrastructure, where we're still putting sales and marketing resources in place. When I say sales, I mean enterprise reps, SMB type of salespeople, solutions architects, as well as business development managers, partner alliance managers, that type of thing. And then our support. Clearly, as soon as you get into the enterprise space, support becomes very important. Our strategy is to really innovate with technology and support. We have things like our Trusted Advisor program, which proactively will tell you as an enterprise things that you should be doing differently with your AWS infrastructure. Like you may have ports open which represent a security risk. You may be able to save X amount of money if you moved on-demand capacity to reserved instances, that type of thing. And we'll proactively do those scans for our support customers and notify them. We're also putting more and more support people around the world. For example, we have a local Japan support team which supports customers in Japanese. We really have support teams around the world now, so we can very easily follow the sun and be fully available 24/7 to our customers. Whoops, wrong way. That was bound to happen eventually. So then, of course, there's the partner ecosystem, which has been for years, a very central part of the AWS strategy. And I just want to stress that it is today and will be going forward a very central part of the AWS strategy. We're in meetings every month, every week, where we're talking about what we're doing with different aspects of our ecosystem. and in a lot of those we're talking about what can we do more, how can we be more helpful to partners, how can we and our partners be more helpful to customers, and how do we make that an even more central than it is today, and it's pretty central today, a part of our strategy. So we've got the APN, the AWS Partner Network, which we've kind of re-rolled out a few months ago, and I hope is providing good benefits. We have started to do more and more around the areas of training, and you'll be hearing more and more about that in terms of more and more robust training offerings, which both for our customers and for partner organizations. We've got a partner business development team, which is growing all the time. That's the group of folks that should be working directly with you to figure out how we go to market together, to make sure that other people in the organizations are hooking up as they need to be. One of those big areas that need to hook up are, of course, the sales teams. That can sometimes be a little tricky to figure out, but we've got just as we're growing our partner team, we're growing our direct sales team rapidly, and this represents today now a pretty substantial group of folks in place, in region, in cities in the U.S. as well as non-U.S. Where we can actually go in with you and be selling into and selling alongside into large companies. We just need to continually figure out how to make that happen together. And of course then partner marketing, Tara and other folks will be talking about that more today, so I won't go into that, but it's just part of our commitment to try and make sure that, we can be effective in positioning ourselves as well as our partner community and our ecosystem with customers. So I'm way over time, so I'm going to go, I think this will be the last slide that I show. In terms of, how's all this activity that we've been doing, how's it being perceived by others? Just, one indication, it's just to be taken with, for whatever you, with whatever grain of salt you want to ascribe it. Gartner actually just released their Magic Quadrant for infrastructure as a service a few weeks ago. And you can see that AWS is there at the top right, and that's at least kind of one third party's perception of where in the space we kind of currently sit in the competitive mix. So we're happy to work with them on that. And I'm just going to stop there and say thank you very much. Again, I hope today is useful. I hope this week is useful. We're really grateful for not only you being here, but more importantly for the work that you're doing with our joint customers to make them successful. So thank you very much. Have a great week.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thanks, Adam. It's the statistic that he just shared that always continues to just amaze me is the amount of capacity we're bringing into AWS every day. I mean, the same amount of capacity when we were over a $5 billion business. If you just think logistically what that takes to actually go procure that hardware, get it to the right spot at the right time, get it hooked up and bring it online, it really is truly an amazing team that we have behind it driving the operations of AWS. Obviously, a huge market opportunity for all of us in this room. Not surprisingly, we get many customers every day asking for us, to recommend various different partners in various different categories. And I'll talk a little bit more about how some of the investments we're making in that a bit later. But one of the investments we have made is we launched the Amazon Partner Network earlier this year as a way to actually help organize our partner ecosystem and make it easier for customers to identify the right projects to meet the unique attributes of the programs and projects that they're deploying. Before I go into that, though, I'd actually like to introduce a special guest, Andy Jassy, who runs the worldwide AWS business, has specifically asked to address this group of partners today. Andy wrote the original business plan many years ago for the AWS business, which in many ways has really become the original business plan for cloud computing. So Andy's going to come up, say a few words, and he's got some special announcements as well. Thanks, Andy.
Terry, can I grab a clicker? Thank you. Hello, everybody, and thank you very, very much for being here with us today. We know how short your time is and how many things you could choose to spend your time doing, so to be here with us today and for the conference, we really appreciate it. And I think what hopefully you'll find from the conference is that it's not one that's really focused on marketing or promotion, but much more focused on content and actually how you can really build a business around the cloud. And I hope you'll see that in the breakouts moving forward in all the presentations. I'd also like to thank all of our sponsors here at the conference. We wouldn't be able to do this the way we want to be able to do this without you as sponsors, and we really appreciate your supporting our first ever conference. It's pretty amazing to be standing here in front of you and to think back on the last 6.5 years of AWS. I, as well as a number of people on the team, have been working on AWS now for over 9 years from when we first conceived of the idea. And I remember when we launched the services, the first set of services 6.5 years ago, in the beginning, most of the people, there were a few developers, a lot of developers actually, who found it pretty cool and pretty useful. But a lot of the people in the industry scoffed at it and said, well, these are kind of interesting, but I don't think anybody's going to really use these. And then as people started using them, we started hearing, well, people will use them, but nothing for, not for anything important or mission critical. And then you started seeing companies use them for mission critical purposes, and we heard, well, that'll only be startups. You're never going to see enterprises adopt the cloud. And then enterprises started using the cloud, and people said, well, that's great, but you'll never see them do more than proofs of concept. And then enterprises started using AWS and the cloud for mission critical applications. And instead of a question about if the cloud is going to be used in a pervasive way in the enterprise, that's really not a question anymore. It's really just kind of how quickly and which ones will move first. And the people in this room have been a large part of helping make that transition for the industry as a whole. It has always been strategic and critical for the AWS business from the very start of writing the business plan to have a vibrant ecosystem of ISVs and SIs. And we always knew that that our customers would want to run most of their favorite applications that they're used to running today, but be able to run it on AWS and take advantage of all the cost and agility and resource-focused benefits you get in AWS. And we also knew that there'd be a lot of companies who wanted to move to the cloud, and they got excited about moving to the cloud, but needed help figuring out how to do it and what to move first, and then how to manage it in a sustainable way. So very, very strategic for us. This room has been an important part of making that transition. But I'd also tell you that I think as much as the platform has changed over the last 6.5 years, it's hardly recognizable in terms of how robust our technology infrastructure platform is today versus 6.5 years ago. I think we're still at the relative beginning of what our infrastructure technology platform will look like 10 to 20 years from now. And I happen to think with as much innovation that's happened the last 6.5 years, there will be more over the next 6.5 years. So those of you who are involved in this business or who are getting started being involved in this business, it's a really good time. And I think if you believe like we do, that almost all of computing is going to move to the cloud in the next 10 to 20 years, that's a lot of business and a lot of help that's required and a lot of innovation. So we appreciate your being part of the ecosystem. I am here in part not only to say thank you and to say hello and to tell you how strategic our ecosystem has and will be moving forward, but also to announce our first charter members of our premier tier for our systems integrators partner network. And so our premier tier, let me go backwards a second. That's not working. Okay, there we go, great. Our premier tier is our highest, technical glitch, is our highest qualification tier in our partner network. And the way that you actually, the way you qualify to be in our premier tier is a combination of how many deals you're getting done, how much revenue you're driving, how many public reference cases you're driving, the quality of the work that you're doing, and then also how much training and education you have on the platform to help our customers get going in a sensible and sustainable way. As I mentioned, we've only created a premier tier initially for our SI category, and we'll consider doing it for our ISV category over time. So this was an incredibly hard decision to pick the first set of our premier partners. We have really a very vibrant and very competent and fast-growing set of SIs that work with us every day that we're thankful for. but we chose the initial list, and I'm going to announce them one by one. The first is Second Watch. Second is 8K Miles. Third is Aquilent. Fourth, Booz Allen Hamilton. Fifth, Capgemini. Sixth, CSS Corp. Seventh, CityTech. Cognizant. DataPipe. DataOOS. Full 360. Market share. Razorfish. Smartronix. And Wipro. Let's give one last hand for all of our first premier partners in the SI category. I'll just close by saying thank you again for all of the work that you're doing with our customers and helping them save time and money and be able to spend most of their resource, their engineering resource, figuring out how to innovate and differentiate their businesses and their products instead of having to spend time on the undifferentiated heavy lifting of infrastructure, which is important, as we all know, but rarely differentiates your business. We appreciate all of your help, and we look forward to working with you in the future. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Andy. Really appreciate you taking the time to address the audience. Again, congratulations to the premier tier partners. Certainly look forward to working with more of you to achieve that status here in the very near future. I want to spend a little bit of time talking about the investments we made in the program and recapping what we've delivered in 2012. So I mentioned we made some significant investments and delivered some milestones over the course of the last 11 plus months. Early in the year, we launched a webinar series specifically focused on our partner community. Each week, we run multiple webinars focused on various different service topics, feature releases, architectural and security best practices, business best practices, billing, etc. And we run these multiple times a week to give you guys a chance to interact more effectively and more frequently with the thought leaders at AWS. We also offer hot topic and open Q&A sessions, giving everybody the ability to interact with the AWS thought leaders on a much more regular basis. To date, we've actually educated over thousands of people, a lot of folks in this room and a lot of folks from your firms. Suggest that you continue to take advantage of this program, and we're going to continue to expand it moving forward. Secondly, we've expanded our channel program throughout the course of the year. We've added a number of commercial partners who are now actually reselling AWS services. This partner is designed for those of you in the audience who have the need to sublicense AWS accounts to third-party customers and provide granular level service access to those customers. You actually own the account, you bill the customer, and we've expanded that program. We've also expanded that program to support public sector accounts as well, and we've added distribution just over the last few months, including Ingram Micro, Avnet, and Tech Data. Billing enhancements. We've gotten some very direct and very constructive feedback from many of you in this room. Mostly constructive feedback, but feedback nonetheless. But we've taken that feedback to heart, and we've got a team that's very committed to actually working on the billing platform with specific partner use cases in mind to make it easier for you to actually decipher your bill, actually manage resources more effectively, develop total cost of ownership that is better for your business as well as your customer's business. Some of the features and enhancements we've made over the year include cost allocation tagging, CSV reports, billing alerts. Some of the things that will be coming in the very near future include programmatic price list access via S3, along with SNS notifications of those price list changes. Detailed billing reports, again via S3, to actually give you daily and hourly CSV reports on each account that's under your bill. And the last but not least is the better ability to actually manage reserved instances and bill for those instances across the account that you're allocating the RI to. So these are just some of the billing enhancements that we're making and have made. There'll be a lot more throughout the course of the year, and again, your feedback is critical so that we provide the best billing platform, not just to our end customers, but also to the partners serving those customers. There'll be a separate breakout session tomorrow at 10:30 for those of you that want to deep dive into the billing platform. As Adam mentioned, one of the fastest growing segments easily within the AWS world is the worldwide public sector. Over 300 government agencies running on AWS now, 1,500 educational institutions running on AWS globally. We launched GovCloud, which is a dedicated region supporting the unique needs of certain US federal government agencies. These are the investments we're making. We've got a rich and vibrant ecosystem of partners serving those customers. And one of the big investments we made is in a dedicated team to support our partner ecosystem as you build out your worldwide public sector practice. That team is led by Max Peterson, sitting down here in the second row. And this is a team of folks that come right out of the public sector space and have years of experience serving the unique needs of public sector customers, not just here in the US, but globally as well. Demand generation, we've made significant capital investments as well as human resource investments in demand generation programs over the course of the year. One of the first things we did is we relaunched the APN partner directory, making it much easier for customers to find the technology solutions and the consulting expertise that they need for the unique needs of their projects. This directory now gets over 40,000 customer visits a month, and it's growing quite rapidly. And we're going to be doing some additional things to actually drive more traffic to that site as well. Many of you have participated and sponsored in the AWS Summits over the course of the year globally. We certainly appreciate that sponsorship. Together, we've been able to actually interact and develop and meet with over 20,000 customers. That's excluding partners. That's 20,000 actual end customers who've attended these in-person events. They've been very well received. I'll talk a little bit about what we're doing there in 2013 towards the end of the presentation. In addition, we've invested, again, budgetary resources and human resources along with you to drive joint partner-specific marketing programs in 2012. These are webinars, in-person events, web-based marketing campaigns that have delivered over 20,000 leads back into our partner community. We're just getting started there. We can do a lot more there, and we're going to be investing quite a bit more moving forward. In April, we launched the AWS Marketplace. This is a really interesting offering. It's an online marketplace that makes it very easy for technology and software providers to sell your products to customers via tightly coupling your software with the AWS services to make the deployment of that product very similar to the infrastructure as a service deployment model with one-click provisioning. We support multiple license models, including bring your own license, paid hourly license models, software as a service, as well as free dev and test. We've got hundreds of products today on the marketplace across 20 different categories, and tremendous growth actually in terms of customer adoption. We've seen 10x growth in the number of customers coming onto the marketplace just since May, and actually 2x increase in products. So if you're an ISV or technology product provider in the room and you haven't checked out Marketplace, I'd recommend that you do. There'll be a separate breakout session on Thursday at 11:30 for that. Enterprise application test drives. On September, we launched a program. Many of the partners in this room, both consulting partners as well as technology partners, are participating in this program. What our customers, especially enterprise customers, have asked is, hey, make it really easy for us to get dev and test and POC environments around products like Oracle and SAP. Make it really easy for us to actually launch and deploy those environments and really test drive it and to see if, hey, those types of products on a cloud environment like AWS make sense. We've launched this program in September. Where we have dozens of test drives available now via the test drive program. And perhaps one of the most interesting statistics, I think, is with essentially no promotion that we've done of the test drive program, we've had over 500 enterprise customers actually come onto the site, leveraging the consulting partners who are making these offerings and actually starting up test drives. And those 500 enterprise customers have been turned into leads for the partners that are supporting the test drive program. One of the most requested enterprise software stacks we've heard about over the last 3 years has been SAP. Large enterprise customers, mid-sized enterprise customers have all come to us saying, hey, can you help me reduce the infrastructure spend we have on SAP? We've worked very closely with SAP over the last 3 years to certify a number of different software products, including business objects, SAP Afaria for mobile device management, SAP Business All-in-One, and most recently SAP HANA, their in-memory database that we launched early this month, actually right here at the Venetian at SAP TechEd. And just 2 weeks ago, we certified perhaps the most important product in our entire portfolio, which is the Business Suite ERP solution. Those products are all certified now to run in production on AWS, and it's been validated by a third-party consulting firm, VMS, out of Germany. The customers can save up to 69% of their IT infrastructure spend by moving SAP environments onto AWS. Represents a huge business opportunity for all of us in the room as we think about IT and application transformation and building a business around that. Early this month, we launched our first reference implementations. This one focused on Microsoft SharePoint. This goes far beyond just a white paper and recommendations. This actually goes into, we're providing cloud formation templates, in this case, over 3,400 lines of sample code to make it very, very easy in 6 simple steps to quickly deploy Microsoft SharePoint on AWS in production. With this offering, a reasonably skilled Windows developer can actually get a SharePoint environment up and running in a matter of a day or two, supporting thousands of concurrent users. Represents a great opportunity. As a matter of fact, a number of our partners in the room here have actually already taken our reference implementation or starting to build various businesses around it, add features on top of it, and create their own unique differentiated SharePoint implementations. Another big area of investment for us has really been, as you heard from Adam and Andy, in the enterprise space. What we're starting to see is really more and more customers coming to us, enterprise customers, saying, hey, I don't want to just move 1 or 2 workloads. I really want AWS to help me transform my data center strategy, my application deployment strategy. And as Tiffani said, really leading more largely to a business transformation approach. Again, it represents a huge opportunity in this room for all of us to work together. Today, we confidently believe that we can support 70 to 80% of a customer's new and existing Windows and Linux workloads. And we're going to be working hard to bring those environments over to AWS so they can gain all of the benefits that we've talked about previously. Of course, this isn't possible without partners. We'll talk a little bit more about this in the afternoon session, but huge opportunities to help customers figure out which applications to bring, what does the architecture look like, what is the implementation strategy, the ongoing operation strategy, what new software stack should I bring into the mix, either SaaS or different licensed products, et cetera. Before I talk a little bit about what we're launching today, I've got 2 special guests that I would like to invite to the stage, partners who've actually kind of heading down this data center transformation path with us. The first is Joe Coyle, who's the North American CTO for Capgemini. Joe has been a long-term visionary and supporter around cloud computing and specifically AWS. Joe actually cold called us about 4 or 5 years ago, I think it was, saying, hey, you got something really interesting here that I think is going to be important for the enterprise. And I think it took him 2 or 3 hours to hunt around our switchboard to actually find somebody on our team to talk to 4 or 5 years ago. But we're very excited to have Joe come up and share some of the things that Capgemini is doing with AWS. Joe?
thought 5 years ago we'd be on stage talking about something like this? And the answer was yes. I never thought I'd take such a beat in getting there. But we're here, and it's really great. So what I want to talk about, I want to just take a few minutes and talk about one client that we started with that we actually built our practice around. And it was a combination of, we'll call it journey to the cloud and data center transformation. And what they did is, just to set the context, a major SAP partner, 161 instances, more storage than EMC can even support, and wanted to reduce costs dramatically very, very quickly. So we went in, and I kind of went through the food chain of this client and talked at the highest level. And we started with the CEO, very, very intrigued by the cloud. I can see the doubts, but he's very, very intrigued. The CFO wanted the cloud because of the perceived savings he was hearing, both in the marketplace from other partners and from us in general. The CIO was extremely concerned about the cloud, and it was more around losing control and those types of things, but he was willing to listen. And then the most interesting piece was the IT leadership. I'll use the word tainted. They were so tainted by the old outsourcing model that they really didn't want to go down that road. But because of the partnership we had, we were able to push through that, and they were able to listen, and we've moved forward. So what we did as Capgemini, we had to morph ourselves to support this. We were a traditional, TS organization, technology services, outsourcing, so forth. So we had to change it. So we had to look at a new model where we can wrap ourselves around the AWS model, which was really, when I first started, infrastructure as a service, but very much now platform as a service, and build something that the enterprise wanted. And so what we decided to do is say, okay, enterprise wants really, whether they're in the cloud, in their own data center, in an outsourced environment, or more realistically, a combination of everything, they want the same look and feel, regardless of where that technology is running or where those applications are running. They also want it, though, to take advantage of the consumption-based model. And to do that, there has to be some intelligence. So for example, if you have an application that you're not using at night, shut it down. You'll save a lot more money than if you leave it running. Those types of things. So what we did is we built a platform. It's called Capgemini Complete, and you'll see some signs out there, and you can stop at our booth to hear it or listen to a presentation on Thursday. We've taken the AWS model, and we've done two things. We've abstracted the technology for that look and feel, so it feels the same to them regardless of what they're running on. And quite honestly, maybe they don't even know. And then we've taken the aggregation piece of that too. Knowing that the journey to the cloud is now pick up my data center and drop it somewhere, we aggregated it so in that hybrid mode, they can again get that same look and feel as they migrate and journey to the cloud. And wherever it is that they stop, the look and feel is the same, whether it's 100% cloud, 70% cloud, whatever the case may be. The other thing we did is we wanted to enhance the SLAs of Amazon more for the enterprise. And that is simply done through architecture, something that we've done forever, for 30 years. So we've also taken the architecture realm and built it back around cloud to show that, yes, data centers do go down, so on and so forth. We can architect your solution to the highest nines you need just by doing what we've done forever, but adopting it to the cloud model. The last thing we had to do was give the client significant control to stop what I call provincialism, whereas we're not going because I'm going to lose control and I can't hug my server, those types of things. And we had to get through that, which we also did. So the result, we won the initial deal. What we did is we went after the low-hanging fruit that we called, and we started with training, pre-prod, things like that are perfect for the consumption-based model. What that allowed us to do is cut a ton of costs out of the infrastructure right up front, and then we use the term semi-self-funding. So now we're allowing this client to take that massive amount of money they saved, and it was pretty massive, and apply that to the real journey to the cloud, was how do I get my productive environment up and running in what I consider safe, secure, fully available, so on and so forth. So we did that. The numbers, I'll just give you some quick numbers for the initial phase. We didn't believe it at first, but it was true. Just by moving one set of training systems, we saved them $8 million one-time cost. And day over day right now, we're saving them 45% from their traditional outsourcing model by doing nothing else but picking it up and moving it as is to Amazon on our complete platform. The good news with that is they want to keep going with the other 150-something instances, and we're working on that. They also gave us a verbal. Their entire Asia-Pac data center community, they have asked us now to migrate that entire back office to the Amazon cloud on complete. The scope keeps changing, but the last call I got last week is now the scope creep, which is good on our side. They're looking at 15,000 servers being moved from various data centers or partners into AWS on Capgemini's complete platform. Pretty big deal. The other thing they asked us was, now that they see the power of the cloud, they trust it, and they realize that, yes, we can be productive in the Amazon cloud. They've asked us for 2013 to kick off a project to do a complete 3-year study on their entire ecosystem, not just servers, everything from telecom, so on and so forth. They want us to come through, look at the entire thing and say, how can we modernize our abilities in technology to get to the cloud, realize those cost savings, and be able to put that money back into our business where it makes the most sense. So that's really it. I'm going to be presenting this on Thursday if you're interested. We'll even have a game. It's called Guess the Client, because I didn't give you a whole lot of information. But it's a major global beauty company that most people would recognize. And we will play Guess the Client because they gave me the opportunity to do that. So very quick, thank you very much. So happy to be here and to be with AWS. It's a great partnership, and look forward to helping people in this room and others. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Joe. Wow, it's a great story, and as Dee said, hard to believe 4 or 5 years ago that we'd be here today with this type of client bringing this type of mission-critical system onto the platform. So, personally, want to thank Capgemini and Joe specifically for the vision and perseverance to actually make this happen. Now, I'm pleased to introduce another partner, Anupam Singh, who's the CTO of MarketShare. MarketShare is doing some really, really innovative things around analytics on the cloud platform, specifically on AWS, and they've got a really interesting customer case study to share with you as well. Anupam?
When I get older, I will be stronger. They'll call me freedom, just like a waving flag.
Thank you, Terry, and thank you, Andy, wherever you are, for recognizing as a premier tier partner with AWS. My name's Anupam Singh. I'm the CTO at MarketShare, and we started on AWS in 2007. We pretty much bet the entire company on Amazon Web Services in 2007. Fast forward to 2012, what used to be a 100-person meetup in Silicon Valley today it's going fast. Can we back up? Back up one more. Thank you. So what used to be a 100-person meetup is now a 6,000-person conference, and we have grown with AWS. Today, MarketShare is recognized as a leader in marketing intelligence solutions. Specifically, what we help our enterprise customers do is to find the true impact of marketing. So if you spend so many dollars in TV advertising, how much sales do you get out of it? Now, but why would we need the cloud? Now, this is a very old problem. This is nothing new. And what you see here is this is what happens in our world. Our customers are enterprise customers. When they are running through their models, they want to run it by market. They want to run it by product. They want to run it by touch points, TV, radio. Imagine the advertising that you would run if you were a marketing professional in a Fortune 50 company. When you add all of that up, and when you are a growing company like MarketShare and you have hundreds of customers, we end up running 10 million model executions every week. Each one of these models are very sophisticated. Each one of these models take up a lot of compute power. And if, let's say, each model took us 1 minute to execute, we would need 20 years of compute time. Now, obviously, nobody's going to wait 20 years for a report to come up, right? So what do? We could have started by buying our own hardware, building our own data center, and then see where the company grows. And if the company grows, we could switch over to AWS. Instead, we leapfrogged from day one. We have been an Amazon Web Services user, and we have reduced this 20 years compute time to maybe minutes or hours. So every week, we are able to execute 10 million models and get the results within the hour. Now, how does that benefit the customer? A lot of the customers are struggling with big data right now. Some people have started from a large volume of data and have gone to very small amount of analytics, your standard regression, your standard statistical algorithms. There are some customers who have started with very complicated analytics, but they're working with small amounts of data. So you have a very complicated model that you're running inside an Excel spreadsheet. It's amazing how much Excel is still used to do analytics. If you take both of these together, if you try to merge these worlds together, we believe that it should be called big modeling. So kind of big data and big analytics mashed together. So how does it work in real life? What does it mean for an actual customer? So a story I would like to share with you guys is Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster, as we all know, is the premier vendor of ticketing solutions. So what they wanted to do was their sales cycles are really short for concerts and sporting events. These might be 2-week or 6-month cycles at the most. They wanted to change the pricing as they got more and more information in. For us geeks in the room, it meant that you have to get the data in, you have to finish the ETL, you have to run the models, and you have to serve a recommendation to the customer every day for hundreds of different events, hundreds of different concerts, etc. What we found again was, instead of hiring data center professionals to monitor the infrastructure, we could actually save 3 hours a day simply by using Elastic MapReduce. We could also save a lot of time by using Elastic Load Balancer, so that if suddenly there were a lot of users, our IT team does not get called, our operations team does not get a page. Instead, we use the Elastic Load Balancer to provision more machines. When we ran this application for an year, we are glad to say that we have done ETL every day for the last year. We've been able to serve recommendations every day for the last year in production. Our analysis tells us we saved 80% of cost if we had gone with a proprietary stack on a proprietary or a physical data center. So this is a clear benefit of taking big modeling and serving up solutions to one of our biggest customers, which is Ticketmaster. What does that stack look like? For a lot of people in this room, this is very familiar territory. You have an Elastic Load Balancer sitting in front, so that if you get a spike in usage, which is a good thing, you should be able to scale without being paged. For most of our ETL, we are big users of Amazon Elastic MapReduce. We have given a lot of feedback, strong feedback to Amazon Web Services. The teams there have done a great job of improving Amazon Elastic MapReduce, and we use it every day for a couple of hours, and we use it with different cluster topologies during the day. A lot of our reporting data is stored in RDS, and a lot of our Hadoop type data is stored in S3. So this is a quick look under the hood of what enables big modeling. If this has intrigued you, if this interests you in the space of analytics, I would encourage you to come to our talk, our breakout on Thursday evening. It's called Big Data Masterclass. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Terry, again, for inviting us.
I will be stronger. They'll call me freedom, just like a waving flag. I get older.
Thanks a lot, Anupam. Again, congratulations on being in the premier tier, likewise to Capgemini and the others. One thing that Anupam said that is really important that I want to reiterate to everybody in the audience, and he just said it towards the end, it's the importance of feedback. The feedback to AWS, not just to our service teams, but also to our business teams as well, in terms of how we can actually improve our programs, improve our services to help you guys build a bigger business and support our joint customers together. So the feedback that we've gotten that I mentioned earlier, we're actually turning into new programs and new program enhancements. So before we go to lunch, I'll actually spend a few minutes talking about that. First and foremost, though, where we're making investments is in the services themselves, as Adam mentioned earlier. Our commitment is to bring the best offering of cloud services along with the highest level of operational excellence to make it much easier for you to actually position the services and sell the services into our joint customer base. So we got about 10 major program enhancements we're going to be announcing today, some which we're launching today here at reInvent, some which will be coming online in Q1. They include launching the AWS Partner Network portal. Starting today, everybody in this room and everybody on your teams, anybody who's in the APN network will actually have access to the AWS portal. It's your online source for all kinds of content, rich content in terms of solution content, white papers, etc. Gives you a chance to submit an opportunity, sales opportunity where you may need sales or technical support from our team. It's an online tool for that. We can actually then track the opportunity and make sure that the appropriate partners get credit as those opportunities move through and close. Access to private events and webinars for partners only, as well as an advanced look at schedules of events that are coming out which are customer focused. And the ability to share ideas with us and collaborate. So these are the initial set of features through the APN Partner Portal. We'll continue to enhance that as the year goes on as well. Next thing we're launching is the APN Partner University. So as Adam and Andy mentioned earlier, training and enablement are one of the biggest areas of commitment and investment for our partner ecosystem. We're going to make sure that your business folks as well as your technical folks have the deepest understanding of our services, how to position those services, and ultimately how to service customers. One of the things we'll be announcing, we're announcing today is discount for all APN members on our in-person training program. It's a 20% discount on the in-person training, architectural best practices, systems operating classes, developer ops, etc. In Q1, we'll be launching partner-only, partner-specific training, a couple of different programs, including Business Essentials and Technical Essentials. This is free to all APN members and only open to APN members. The Business Essentials gives really the sales and technical people, really anybody in your organization, the foundation of what AWS is all about, what the major services are, the use cases, total cost of ownership studies, and how to position AWS to most effectively sell within the customer base. Technical Essentials is really what it's entitled. It gives you, your technical folks, a deep initial understanding of AWS in an online forum. We could go through the services in deep detail, architectural best practices, security best practices. Again, it's a free program. It really does provide the foundation for the technical folks on your team to start to come up to speed on AWS. The next program we'll be launching as part of Partner University, as I mentioned earlier, is the whiteboard selling program that we're actually going to be doing today in the sales breakout session. So this gives the sales leaders in your organization hands-on training in terms of how to actually go through a whiteboard session in terms of positioning cloud computing, the benefits of cloud, the unique attributes of AWS, and most importantly, the skill set to help identify quickly pain points from a customer's perspective and identify project opportunities. Very much a whiteboard interactive session. It's a really cool program. If you haven't taken something like this before, I'd highly recommend that you try it out. Not only does it give you skill sets that related to AWS and cloud, but it just gives really good, solid sales skills in general. I talked a little bit earlier about the Microsoft SharePoint reference implementation that we launched in November. We're going to expand this program moving into 2013. We're going to be doing reference implementations for Oracle, SAP, additional Microsoft products, enterprise security reference implementations, enterprise mobility reference implementations, VDI, just to name a few. We're very, very interested in working with you if you've got ideas around reference implementations and supporting your efforts to create your own reference implementations that then become your unique intellectual property that you bring to our joint customers. And that can either be an extension of the reference implementations that we're building and offering to the broader market, or it can be a custom reference implementation. But again, talk to your partner development managers around how we can actually engage to build these out. Today we're launching Partner Premium Support offering. This is a new support offering, again, based on feedback that we've received by many of the partners in this room. This is available for all of our APN Advanced tier partners, our consulting partners, channel partners, as well as those software companies providing software as a service offering to end customers. Just a few of the key enhancements here is we'll be flexible customer engagement. We've actually customized the program to better meet the unique needs of your business model and how you sell to and service customers. Get with your partner development manager or the AWS team here to understand the details behind the flexible engagement model. We're also offering a concierge service. So we're actually going to have AWS trained resources on our support team who actually understand your business and the unique way in which you support customers to make it more effective for the interaction between our organization and your organization, whether it's a question around billing, case management, et cetera. We're also going to be launching in Q1 support APIs to make it much, much easier to actually give programmatic access between your case management system and the case management system that we use here at AWS, providing much cleaner visibility across any cases that you may open on behalf of your customers with the AWS support team. We'll also be launching a support management console again in Q1, which will provide much better visibility across all of the cases that you may have open within all of the AWS accounts that you own and manage on behalf of your business or your customers. So a lot of investments being made to really revamp the partner support program based on the feedback that we've gotten from you. Next announcement is APN competencies. A lot of feedback from customers, as I mentioned before. Yeah, help us quickly identify which partners in your ecosystem have unique software products and software tool sets or skill sets in a very specific market segment. In Q1, we'll be launching 6 new competencies focused on Oracle, SAP, Microsoft, big data, managed services, as well as storage, archiving, and backup. So the way you earn these competencies is quite simply by providing good customer experience and customer references within a specific given category. And you're more than welcome to earn multiple competencies or all of them as well. And as I said, we'll be launching that in Q1. Marketing Toolkit, I talked a little bit earlier about the investments we've made to help drive lead gen and demand gen for the partners. January 1st represents a new budget year for us, which is good news because we'll actually have additional resource to invest in lead gen and marketing campaigns along with you. To that end, we've also spent a lot of time internally making a programmatic approach to marketing campaigns so we can better serve more of you more often with unique campaigns targeted at the customers that you're going after. These include case study programs, support for proof of concepts, events in a box, customer-facing webinars, as well as syndicated content, just to name a few. So in summary, the existing benefits of the APN program you see here on the left in blue, this is what we launched earlier this year. Based on the feedback that we've gotten, we've made a number of enhancements to the program. Everybody in the registered tier gets access to the partner portal, partner university, and our reference implementations. Our standard partners, in addition to what I just mentioned, get access to the marketing toolkit, sponsorship opportunities, access to the technical and business essentials program, as well as a discount on training. And our advanced tier partners actually get a named partner development manager, as well as access to the premium support options, just to name a few. We'll continue to enhance the program and make additional announcements through the course of the year. Lastly, I want to talk a little bit about the summits. Many of you ask, we've gotten a lot of feedback saying, hey, can you publish a list of events and summits earlier in the year so we can have better planning in terms around how we budget to support the AWS events. So starting in April, and we'll be publishing a much broader list of the events that we'll be doing here in the next couple of weeks. But starting in April, we'll be doing, again, a worldwide roadshow to the cities listed here. In addition, we'll be doing regional events around the country. There are plenty of partnership, sponsorship opportunities for those that are interested. And again, we'll be announcing the full slate of events here in the near future. So we have 3 breakout sessions this afternoon. Please make sure you attend one of these. There's a lot of rich content. The business leaders session, again, Tiffani will be there sharing some additional insights. We'll also hear from BMC and Second Watch, 2 additional partners, as well as Carla Stratfield, our head of sales for the Americas. I mentioned the whiteboard selling workshop with the sales track, as well as the architecture and deep dive technical sessions in the technology session. And we'll be following that up with the all-important cocktail party at 5:45. So give everybody a chance again to loosen up a bit and share ideas and provide additional feedback. The feedback always gets better after 3 or 4 beers. So quick call to action in summary. Familiarize yourself with the APN portal today. You'll have access to that today. Take a look at our partner university and start to get your teams involved in the training. Take a look at our reference implementations. Take a hard look at the AWS marketplace. I think it's one of the most unique things in the industry in terms of producing, providing access to customers. Think about the summits for next year. And most importantly, we've got about 30 days left in the year, so let's work together to figure out how to close some business. You have literally hundreds of AWS people here over the next few days. If you've got an opportunity that you need help, whether it's technical help, billing help, pricing help, whatnot, there's a ton of people here to support you, so grab us. That's job 1. In summary, hey, thanks again for attending reInvent with us. Those that are sponsoring, I mean, we're deeply appreciative of the commitments you're making to not just cloud computing in AWS, but most importantly, our joint customers. Without the group in this room, this whole market and this whole business would be a fraction of what it is today. So thanks very much for your time this morning. Have a great reInvent. We'll see you at lunch.